The grand hall of the Galactic Council gleamed under the light of 3 artificial suns. The ceiling arched so high that small clouds formed near the top. At the center stood a circular platform where representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered in tiered seating. Today was special. Humans were finally invited to join the council after 50 years of watching them from afar. June adjusted his formal blue uniform as he waited with the small human team. His dark hair was neatly combed and his eyes darted around, taking in every detail of the alien architecture. "Remember the rules," Captain Doyen whispered. The older man's face was serious. "No sudden moves, no loud noises, and most importantly, show proper respect to all council members." "Yes, Captain." June nodded. As the team's xenobiologist, he had studied all available information about the 20 major council species. But books could never fully prepare someone for meeting aliens face to face. Hieri, the cultural attaché, checked her tablet one last time. "The greeting ceremony will last about 2 hours. We bow to the core 5 species first, then the secondary 12, then..." A loud tone echoed through the chamber, cutting her off. The massive doors at the far end slid open, and a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms entered. This was Tyke of the Viridian species, their assigned council guide. "Humans of Earth," Tyke's voice translator boomed. "The Grand Council welcomes you to Harmonix 9, the center of galactic cooperation. Please follow me to the presentation circle." The human team of 5 followed Tyke across the polished floor. June noticed how other alien representatives turned to watch them pass. Some leaned forward with interest. Others moved back slightly, as if afraid. "They act like they've never seen humans before," June whispered to Hieri. "Most haven't," she replied. "Only the contact committee was allowed to meet with Earth before today." The presentation circle was a raised platform bathed in golden light. As they took their positions, June could see hundreds of different alien species sitting in the surrounding seats. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that June couldn't tell which parts were heads and which were limbs. A floating platform descended from above, carrying what appeared to be the council's leaders. 7 different alien species stood together, each wearing similar silver robes with colored symbols. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Tyke announced, "I present the diplomatic team from planet Earth, representing humanity." Captain Doyen stepped forward and bowed deeply. "Honorable Council, we bring greetings from Earth. We are honored by your invitation and hope to learn from your ancient wisdom." One of the council leaders, a tall being with feathers instead of hair, spoke. "We have watched your species with great interest, humans. Your rapid technological advancement is unusual." June noticed the slight pause. He had read between the lines of their briefing materials. The council was worried about humans. Earth had gone from simple radio signals to faster-than-light travel in just 300 years. Most species took thousands of years to develop the same technology. "We are eager to share our knowledge and learn from yours," Captain Doyen replied carefully. The feathered council member nodded slowly. "As is tradition for new species joining our community, we will now present the sovereign beast." A hushed silence fell over the chamber. June saw many alien representatives shrink back in their seats. "What's the sovereign beast?" he whispered to Hieri. Before she could answer, a deep rumbling sound filled the hall. A section of the floor opened, and a massive platform rose from below. Standing on the platform was the largest predator June had ever seen. It stood taller than 2 men, with 6 powerful limbs ending in curved claws. Its body was covered in scales that shifted between deep purple and midnight blue. A row of spines ran down its back, and its head featured 4 eyes and a mouth full of gleaming teeth. "The Carex," announced the council leader. "Apex predator of the Nocturne system and guardian of the council for 12,000 years. New members must show proper respect and deference to the sovereign beast." The massive creature surveyed the room with its 4 eyes, which glowed with a yellow light. When its gaze fell on the humans, it let out a low growl. Tyke stepped closer to the human delegation. "You must now approach to the yellow line, bow, and then step back quickly. The Carex acknowledges your submission and your introduction to..." The council is complete. Captain Doyen nodded and led the team forward. They stopped at a yellow line marked on the floor, about 5 meters from the creature. The council chamber was completely silent now. June stared at the magnificent animal. As a xenobiologist, he was fascinated rather than frightened. The creature's muscles rippled under its scales as it watched them. Its upper pair of eyes narrowed slightly. The human team bowed as instructed. But when they began to step back, June remained in place, still studying the creature. "It's beautiful," he said quietly. The Carex tilted its massive head, as if it had heard him. Its nostrils flared, taking in the human scent. "June," Captain Doyen whispered urgently. "Step back now." But June noticed something in the creature's posture. He had studied predator behavior on Earth for years. This animal wasn't displaying aggression. It was displaying curiosity. Without thinking about council protocols or alien traditions, June took a step forward, crossing the yellow line. A collective gasp echoed through the chamber. Tyke's forearms raised in alarm. "Human, you must not approach the sovereign beast," Tyke called out, his translator unable to hide the panic in his voice. But June took another step, and another. The Carex watched him, its head lowering slightly, to get a better look at this strange creature that didn't flee. "June," Captain Doyen's voice was sharp with fear. "That's an order." June stopped about 2 meters from the massive predator. Then slowly, he raised his hand, palm up, the way he would approach a nervous dog or big cat. The council chamber erupted in horrified whispers. Several representatives stood up, while others turned away, unable to watch what they thought would be a gruesome death. The Carex leaned forward, its 4 eyes fixed on June's hand. Its massive head moved closer until June could feel its hot breath on his skin. Time seemed to stop. June kept his hand steady, even as his heart pounded in his chest. Then, to the absolute shock of every being in the vast chamber, the feared apex, predator of the galaxy, pressed its scaled face against June's hand. June smiled and began to gently stroke the creature's jaw. The Carex closed its upper eyes, almost like a cat enjoying being petted. "Good boy," June said softly, though he had no idea if the creature was male or even understood him. "You're not so scary, are you? Just misunderstood." The Carex made a rumbling sound in its chest that was unmistakably a purr. The council leader with feathers dropped the ceremonial staff they were holding. It clattered loudly on the floor, the only sound in the otherwise silent chamber. Tyke's translator struggled to convey his shock. "Impossible. This cannot. In 12,000 years, no species has ever. The Carex allows no one to touch." Captain Doyen's anger had transformed into amazement. Hieri was furiously taking notes on her tablet. June continued petting the massive creature, which had now lowered itself to a more comfortable position, its 6 limbs folded under its body. "I think," June said calmly, looking back at his stunned team and the even more stunned Galactic Council, "that we might need to revise some of our understanding about predator species." The feathered council leader finally found their voice. "In all my 300 years, what is this human? How is this possible?" Captain Doyen smiled slightly, his initial fear giving way to pride. "That's just June. He's always had a way with animals." And so began humanity's very unusual introduction to galactic society. The human delegation was escorted to a private meeting room after the shocking ceremony. The room had a large oval table with chairs of various shapes to accommodate different alien bodies. Captain Doyen paced back and forth while June sat calmly, reviewing data on his tablet. "Do you realize what you've done?" Captain Doyen finally stopped pacing to look at June. "You broke every protocol we were given." June looked up from his tablet. "I'm sorry, Captain, but that creature, the Carex, it wasn't aggressive, I could tell from its body language." "Body language?" Hieri joined the conversation. "June, it's an alien predator from across the galaxy. How could you possibly read its body language?" Before June could answer, the door slid open. Tak entered with 3 other council members. Their faces, at least the ones with recognizable faces, showed a mix of fear, confusion, and curiosity. "The council demands an explanation," Tyke said, his forearms moving in agitated patterns. In 12,000 years of council history, no one has ever touched the sovereign beast and lived. Captain Doyen stepped forward. On behalf of humanity, I apologize for any offense. June is our xenobiologist, and I'm not offended, interrupted a small bird-like alien with bright green feathers. I am Suk, elder of the Avarian flock. I am curious. She tilted her head to study June. How did you control the Carex? I didn't control it, June said simply. I just showed it respect. The third council member, a tall being with transparent skin through which colorful organs could be seen, made a bubbling sound that the translator rendered as laughter. Respect? For a mindless killer? June frowned. The Carex isn't mindless. It's highly intelligent. I could see it in its eyes. Impossible, said the fourth council member, who resembled a large insect. The Carex are bred for aggression and loyalty to the council. They are our protectors, but they are animals. Minho, the human security chief who had remained silent until now, spoke up. On Earth, we have a long history of working with predator species. Dogs, cats, falcons. We've domesticated many animals that were once feared. Suk fluttered her wings slightly. Your planet has predators that you live with? Yes, June nodded eagerly. In fact, many humans keep predators as pets. Dogs descended from wolves, and cats are natural hunters. We've lived alongside them for thousands of years. The council members exchanged glances that even the humans could tell showed disbelief. Perhaps, Tyke said carefully, humans have a different evolutionary history than most council species. That's exactly it. June jumped in. Most of you evolved from prey species, didn't you? The transparent alien's organs changed colors rapidly. How did you know this? It explains your reaction to the Carex, June said. You fear predators instinctively, but humans evolved as both predator and prey. We were hunters as well as the hunted. Captain Doyen gave June a look that clearly meant, be careful. Regardless, Tyke said, his tone becoming formal again. The council must discuss this incident. Please remain in your assigned quarters until summoned. After the council members left, the room was quiet for a moment. Well, Captain Doyen sighed. That could have gone better. Or it could have gone worse, Harry pointed out. At least they're intrigued rather than just angry. Minho, who had been checking the security of the room, rejoined them. I don't trust the insect one. Did you see how its mandibles kept clicking? My security training says that's a sign of aggression in their species. We should learn more about the Carex, June said, returning to his tablet. If they're so central to council culture, understanding them might be key to our acceptance. Later that evening, as the station's lights dimmed to simulate night, June was studying in his quarters when his door chimed. He opened it to find Tyke, standing there alone. May I enter? The four-armed alien asked, looking nervously down the corridor. I wish to speak privately. June stepped aside. Of course. Once inside, Tyke seemed to relax slightly, his upper set of arms lowering. What I'm about to say could damage my standing in the council, but I must know. He paused, looking directly at June. Will you teach me how to touch the Carex? June blinked in surprise. You've never touched it? But you're a council representative. No. One touches the sovereign beast, Tyke said simply. For thousands of years they have been our guardians, but also our symbols of power. They are feared, respected, but never touched. Why do you want to touch it now? June asked. Tyke's four hands made a gesture the translator didn't interpret. Because I saw something today I never imagined possible. The Carex looked peaceful, with you. Happy even. June smiled. I can teach you, but first I need to understand more about them. Where do they come from? How are they raised? The Carex are from the Nocturne system, a world of perpetual twilight. They are brought to us, as cubs and raised in special facilities. Few ever see them except during official ceremonies. That's terrible, June said, unable to hide his feelings. Intelligent creatures need companionship, stimulation. They are dangerous, Tyke insisted. They have killed many who showed weakness or fear. That's not surprising if they've been isolated and treated as weapons, June replied. But I believe they can form bonds just like Earth predators. Their conversation was interrupted by June's communicator beeping. It was Captain Doyen. June, come quickly to the main hall. The captain's voice sounded urgent but excited. It's the Carex. Well, you need to see this. When June and Tyke arrived at the main hall, they found a crowd of council representatives watching from a safe distance. In the center of the hall, the massive Carex was pacing in circles, making distressed sounds. It's been like this for an hour, Captain, Doyen explained. None of the handlers can calm it down. Where are these handlers? June asked, scanning the room. A small group of aliens in protective gear stood nearby, holding what looked like electric prods. Those are the tools you use? June couldn't hide his disgust. No wonder it's upset. Without waiting for permission, June walked toward the agitated Carex. The crowd gasped and several representatives called out warnings. June, Captain Doyen called. Be careful. The Carex spotted June and immediately stopped pacing. Its 4 eyes focused on him and its massive head lowered. Hi there, June said softly, approaching with his hand outstretched as he had done earlier. Remember me? The Carex made a rumbling sound and moved toward June. Several council members cried out in alarm, but their fears were unfounded. The massive predator pressed its head against June's hand, just as it had done during the ceremony. What's wrong, big guy? June asked, stroking the creature's scaled head. Are they not treating you well? The Carex made a series of clicking sounds and then, to everyone's shock, it lay down at June's feet, exposing its belly, a universal sign of trust among predators. By the ancient stars, Tyke whispered from behind June. It submits to you. Not submission, June corrected, kneeling to rub the Carex's belly. Trust. There's a big difference. As the Carex rumbled contentedly under June's touch, he looked up at the stunned audience of council representatives. I think, he said loudly enough for all to hear, that the sovereign beast has been misunderstood for a very long time. In the back of the crowd, Sook whispered to another council member. These humans are more dangerous than we thought. Anyone who can tame the galaxy's most feared predator. Yes, her companion agreed, eyes fixed on June and the now purring Carex. We must watch them very carefully indeed. Word of June's connection with the Carex spread quickly through Harmonix 9. By the next station morning, the human delegation found themselves the center of attention. Some aliens approached with curiosity, while others kept their distance, whispering among themselves. Captain Doyen called an urgent meeting in their quarters. The situation is getting complicated, he said, looking at each team member. The council is divided about us. Some see our handling of the Carex as fascinating. Others see it as threatening. Yeri nodded, checking her notes. I've been monitoring council communications. A group led by Sook is pushing to have us quarantined. Quarantined? June frowned. Why? They think we might have special powers, Minho said with a short laugh. Mind control or something. They can't explain how you tamed the Carex otherwise. The door chimed, and a new human entered. He was tall, with kind eyes and a thoughtful expression. This is Junho, Captain Doyen, introduced him. He just arrived from Earth on the supply ship. He's our empathic specialist and expert in animal behavior. Junho bowed slightly. I was sent as soon as Earth received reports of the Carex incident. I've studied the preliminary data you sent, June. Good, Captain Doyen nodded. We need your expertise. June, take Junho to meet the Carex as soon as possible. Before they could leave, the communication panel beeped. The face of Tyke appeared on the screen. Captain Doyen, he said, his voice urgent. The council has called an emergency session. Your presence is required immediately. The council chamber was packed when the human delegation arrived. Many representatives were standing, which Hiyeri whispered was unusual for formal proceedings. Tall, severe-looking alien stood at the center. She had metallic skin and 6 eyes arranged in a circle around her head. "This is Yuna," Tech whispered to them. "Head of Council Security. Be careful with her." "Humans of Earth," Yuna's voice was cold even through the translator. "You have created a significant disruption in Council protocols. The Sovereign Beast has refused to perform its ceremonial duty since interacting with your specialist." Captain Doyen stepped forward. "We apologize for any inconvenience, but we did not intend—" "Intentions are irrelevant," Yuna cut him off. "Results are what matter. And the result is that our sacred protector now behaves abnormally." June whispered to Junho. "They treat it like a machine, not a living being." Junho nodded, his eyes scanning the chamber carefully. Sook fluttered her wings to gain attention. "The Council must consider the possibility that humans possess abilities unknown to us. Their control of apex predators suggests mental powers that could be dangerous." Murmurs spread through the chamber. June could see fear growing on many alien faces. "We have no such powers," Captain Doyen stated firmly. "Humans simply evolved alongside predators on our world. We understand them differently than you do." "Prove it," challenged Yuna. "Allow our scientists to examine your brains. If you have nothing to hide." "That would be a violation of diplomatic protocol," Captain Doyen replied coolly. "We did not agree to become research subjects." The tension in the room grew. June noticed Tyke looking uncomfortable, his 4 arms moving in nervous patterns. Suddenly, a loud alarm blared through the chamber. Red lights flashed as a voice announced, "Security alert, containment breach in level 6, all personnel evacuate immediately." Council members began moving quickly toward the exits. Yuna barked orders into a communication device. "What's in level 6? June asked Tyke as they moved with the crowd. Tyke's translator struggled to keep up with his rapid speech. "The Carrick's holding facility, this is impossible. The security systems are the strongest in the station." Captain Doyen grabbed June's arm. "Stay with the team. We need to return to our quarters immediately." "No." June pulled away. "I need to see what's happening with the Carrick's." Before anyone could stop him, June slipped away into the crowd with Junho following close behind. Level 6 was chaos. Emergency lights pulsed red in the corridors as aliens rushed past. June and Junho moved, against the flow, heading toward the source of the alarm. They turned a corner and stopped abruptly. The massive Carrick stood in the middle of the corridor, its spines fully extended. 3 security officers lay unconscious nearby. "Easy," June said softly, approaching slowly. "Easy, big one." The Carrick turned its 4 eyes toward June. It made a low rumbling sound but didn't attack. "It's scared," Junho observed. "Look at its posture. Defensive, not aggressive." June reached out his hand. "It's okay. We're friends, remember?" The Carrick lowered its head and moved closer to June. As it came under the light, June gasped. The creature's beautiful scales were marked with fresh wounds. "They hurt you," June said, anger rising in his voice. "Who did this?" "Step away from the beast." Yuna's cold voice came from behind them. She stood with 6 armed guards, all pointing weapons at the Carricks. "Put those away," June said firmly. "You're scaring it." "That creature has injured 3 officers," Yuna replied. "It must be subdued." Junho stepped forward. The Carrick was defending itself. "Look at its wounds. Someone has been experimenting on it." Yuna's 6 eyes blinked in unison. "That information is classified." "So you admit it," June said, still standing protectively near the Carrick. "What were you doing to it?" Before Yuna could answer, Tyke appeared with Captain Doyen and Minho. "What is happening here?" Tyke demanded, seeing the standoff. "They've been hurting the Carricks," June explained, pointing to the creature's wounds. "Running experiments on it." Captain Doyen looked sharply at Yuna. "Is this true? Experimenting on the creature you claim to revere?" Yuna's metallic face showed no emotion. "The sovereign beast is council property. Its genetic material is valuable for research." "Research into what?" Minho asked, his security training making him suspicious. A tense silence followed. The Carrick moved closer to June, making soft clicking sounds. "Bioweapons," said a new voice. Everyone turned to see Sook approaching slowly. "Yuna's department has been extracting DNA from the Carex to develop weapons." "You swore an oath of silence," Yuna hissed at Sook. "I swore to protect the Council," Sook replied, "not to harm innocent species." Junho had moved closer to the Carex and was examining its wounds. "These aren't from casual tests. They've been taking deep tissue samples, bone marrow." The Carex made a sound that needed no translation. Pain and sadness mixed together. "You told us the Carex was just an animal," June said to Tyke. "But that's not true, is it?" Tyke's forearms drooped. "The official position is that the Carex are non-sentient." "Official position?" Captain Doyen asked. "As opposed to what?" "The truth," Sook said quietly. "That the Carex possess intelligence close to our own. But acknowledging that would mean admitting we've enslaved a sentient species for millennia." The Carex made a series of clicks and rumbles, pressing its head against June's hand. "It's trying to communicate," Junho observed. "These aren't random noises. There's a pattern." Yuna stepped forward, her guards still aiming at the Carex. "Enough of this. The beast must be returned to containment, and you humans will be confined to your quarters pending investigation." "No," June said firmly, placing himself between the Carex and the weapons. "I won't let you hurt it anymore." The Carex rose to its full height behind June, its massive form dwarfing the human. But instead of attacking, it gently placed one clawed limb on June's shoulder. The guards tensed, but Captain Doyen raised his hand. "Everyone stay calm. No one needs to get hurt here." "The human speaks its language somehow," one guard whispered to another. "See how they move together?" "This situation has become a diplomatic incident," Captain Doyen said formally. "Under Section 12 of the Council's own First Contact Protocols, we claim protective custody of this being until a full investigation can be conducted." Yuna's eyes narrowed. "You have no authority." "Actually," Tyke interrupted, "he does. The protocols are clear. If evidence of sentient species mistreatment is discovered, visiting delegations may invoke protection rights." Sook stepped closer to the humans. "I will support this claim in the full council." For a moment, no one moved. Then Yuna lowered her weapon slightly. "This isn't over. The council will determine the Carex's status, not humans who have barely joined galactic society." "Fair enough," Captain Doyen nodded. "We'll present our evidence to the full council." As Yuna and her guards retreated, June turned to the wounded Carex. "It's okay now, you're safe with us." The massive creature lowered itself until its eyes were level with June's. It made a soft purring sound that vibrated through the corridor. "I think," Junho said quietly, "we need to learn how to talk with it. Really talk. And fast, Captain," Doyen added, watching Yuna disappear around a corner. "Because I suspect our welcome in the Galactic Council just got a lot colder." The next day found the human delegation in new quarters, larger rooms located in a quiet section of Harmonix 9. Captain Doyen had insisted on better accommodations if they were to care for the Carex. After much argument, the council had agreed. The Carex now rested in the main room, its massive body curled up on a specially reinforced floor pad. Its wounds had been treated by Siak, the human ship's doctor, who had been shocked at the extent of the experiments. "Some of these cuts go deep, into muscle tissue," Siak had reported. "They were taking samples of everything, blood, tissue, even bone marrow." Now the creature slept peacefully while June and Junho observed its breathing patterns. "I've been analyzing its vocalizations," Junho said, reviewing data on his tablet. "There are clear patterns, about 40 distinct sounds that repeat in specific combinations." "A language?" June asked. "Not as complex as ours, but definitely communication." Junho nodded. "We need someone who specializes in language patterns." Captain Doyen, who had been listening nearby, touched his communicator. "I'll contact Earth. We need a specialist fast." The door chimed and Hieri let in Tyke and Sook. The two council members approached cautiously, eyeing the sleeping Carex. "How Is it? Tyke asked, keeping his distance. Better, June said, but it will take time for all the wounds to heal. Sook moved closer than Tyke dared. Her feathers ruffled slightly as she studied the sleeping predator. In all my years, I never imagined being in the same room with an unrestrained Carex. Yet, you're not running away, June observed with a smile. Your courage is inspiring, Sook admitted. But we bring troubling news. Yuna has convinced many council members that humans are dangerous. She claims you have secret abilities to control minds. Captain Doyen frowned. That's ridiculous. Is it? Tyke gestured toward the sleeping Carex. For 12,000 years, these creatures have been uncontrollable except through force. Then humans arrive, and within days one sleeps peacefully in your quarters. That's not mind control, June explained. It's understanding and respect. The Carex responds to kindness because all intelligent beings do. The door chimed again, and Minho entered with a woman they hadn't seen before. This is Jiwoo, Minho introduced her. Our linguistic expert. She just arrived on the emergency shuttle from Earth. Jiwoo bowed slightly to everyone. Her eyes widened at the sight of the Carex, but she showed no fear. I've reviewed the audio files you sent, she said to Junho. You're right about the patterns. With enough samples, I might be able to establish basic communication. As if sensing it was being discussed, the Carex opened its 4 eyes. It rose slowly, stretching its 6 limbs. Tyke took an involuntary step back, but Sook remained in place, though her feathers quivered slightly. The Carex made a series of clicks and rumbles, looking directly at June. It's greeting you, Jiwoo said, listening carefully. The rising tone at the end suggests a question. June approached the creature and gently touched its head. Good morning to you too. Are you feeling better? The Carex made another sound, lower and longer. Fascinating, Jiwoo mumbled, making notes. The patterns are consistent with what we've observed in intelligent Earth species like dolphins and great apes. Captain Doyen turned to Tyke and Sook. We need to present this evidence to the full council. The Carex aren't just animals. They're an intelligent species being mistreated. It won't be easy, Sook warned. Many council races have deep cultural fears of predators. And Yuna's faction has powerful allies. Is there anyone else who might support us? Hieri asked. Take thought for a moment. Doyen of the Lunari might help. His species values truth above all else. Contact him, Captain Doyen decided. We need to build our case quickly. Over the next 2 days, Jiwoo worked tirelessly with June and Junho to develop a basic communication system with the Carex. They used simple sounds, hand gestures, and pictures to establish meaning. It's working, Jiwoo reported excitedly to the team. We can now understand about 30 basic concepts: food, water, pain, happy, friend. Simple ideas, but real communication. What have you learned about them? Captain Doyen asked. Jiwoo's face grew serious. Their story is sad. From what we can piece together, the Carex were taken from their homeworld centuries ago. They've been bred in captivity as symbols of power and tools of intimidation. Have they always been treated as poorly as what we saw? Siok asked. The experiments are new, Jiwoo explained, but the isolation and fear, that's been their reality for generations. The Carex, who now responded to the name Cal, the closest human approximation to its self-identifier, made a series of sounds while touching its head to June's shoulder, a gesture they had come to recognize as trust. What did it say? Hieri asked. Jiwoo smiled sadly. It said, humans friend, others fear. At least, that's the closest translation. A chime sounded, and the door opened to reveal Tyke with a new alien. This one had silvery skin that seemed to glow from within and large, thoughtful eyes. This is Doyen of the Lunari, Tyke introduced him. He has agreed to hear your case. Doyen bowed slightly. I seek truth above all things. Show me your evidence. For the next hour, the humans presented everything they had learned. Jiwoo demonstrated their communication system, while Siok showed medical scans revealing the Carex's complex brain structure. Unyo presented behavioral analyses comparing the Carex to sentient species. Throughout it all, Cal remained calm, occasionally participating by responding to simple questions that Ji-woo translated. When they finished, Do-yun was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke quietly. "If what you say is true, a great injustice has been committed for thousands of years." "It is true," Suk said firmly. "I have served on the council for 2 centuries, and I was taught to fear the Carracks. Never once did anyone suggest they might be thinking, feeling beings. Because that would make us monsters," Tyke added, his 4 arms moving in a pattern of distress. "To have kept an intelligent species captive, to have experimented on them." Do-hyun nodded slowly. "I will support your petition for a full hearing before the council. But be warned, Yuna and her allies will fight this. They have too much to lose if the truth becomes known." "What exactly are they doing with the genetic material they've collected?" Minho asked, his security training making him focus on potential threats. "Developing weapons," Do-yun confirmed. "The Carracks are the ultimate predators. Immune to most toxins, able to see in multiple light spectrums, incredibly strong and fast. An army with those abilities would be unstoppable." Captain Do-yun's face hardened. "Then we need to move quickly. When can we address the council?" "Tomorrow," Do-yun said. "I will arrange it." As their visitors left, June sat beside Cal, who made a soft purring sound. "We'll make this right," he promised, stroking the creature's scaled head. "No one will hurt you again." Cal looked at him with all 4 eyes and made a series of clicks that Ji-woo had taught them meant trust. That night, as most of the station slept, Minho remained awake, standing guard in the main room. He had insisted on security shifts, not trusting Yuna to respect diplomatic protocols. His caution proved wise when the door's security system beeped, indicating an override attempt. Minho quickly woke the others. "Someone's trying to break in," he whispered. Captain Do-yun grabbed his communicator. "I'm contacting station security." "It might be station security," Hyeri warned. The door slid open with a hiss. 4 armed guards stood there with Yuna behind them. "By order of the High Council, the Carracks is to be returned to containment immediately," she announced coldly. "The High Council issued no such order." Do-hyun's voice came from behind her. He stepped into view, with Tyke and Suk beside him. "I checked the records personally." Yuna's 6 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of anger in her species. "This is a security matter. The creature is dangerous." "The only danger here," June said, standing protectively near Cal, who was now fully awake and watching the confrontation, "is to the truth. You're afraid of what the council will learn tomorrow." "The hearing will proceed as scheduled," Do-yun stated firmly. "Until then, the humans have diplomatic protection." For a tense moment, it seemed Yuna might order her guards to attack anyway. But finally, she stepped back. "Tomorrow changes nothing. The council has feared the Carracks for millennia. They won't suddenly embrace them because humans are too foolish to be afraid." After Yuna and her guards departed, Do-hyun turned to the humans. "Be prepared. Tomorrow will not be easy." Captain Do-yun nodded. "We're ready." As their allies left, June noticed Cal watching him with its 4 eyes. The creature made the sound they had learned meant question. "Yes," June replied, placing his hand on the massive scaled head. "Tomorrow we fight for your freedom." Cal made the sound for trust again, followed by a new combination of clicks and rumbles. Ji-woo, who had been listening, smiled. "That's a new phrase. I think it means family." "Yes," June said, feeling a lump in his throat. "We are family now." The Grand Council chamber was filled to capacity. Representatives from all member species packed the tiered seating, their voices creating a buzz of excitement and tension. At the center of the chamber stood the human delegation, with Cal, the we, Carracks by their side. Captain Do-yun surveyed the crowd, his face serious. "Remember," he told his team quietly, "no matter what happens, stay calm and stick to the facts." June nodded, keeping one hand resting lightly on Cal's scaled shoulder. The massive creature stood perfectly still, all 4 eyes scanning the chamber. Many council members visibly shrank back when Cal looked their way. 7 council leaders sat on the highest platform, with Suk among them. She had insisted on attending despite threats from Yuna's faction. Do-hyun and Taek sat at a slightly lower level, ready to speak in support of the humans. A soft tone sounded, and the chamber fell silent. "This emergency session will now begin," announced the oldest council leader, a being with flowing silver hair that moved as if in water. "We are here to address the human claim that the Carracks are sentient beings deserving of rights and protection." Yuna stood at an opposing platform, her metallic skin gleaming under the chamber lights. "This claim is absurd. The Carracks have served as the sovereign beasts of the council for 12,000 years. They are animals, not people." "You claim they are animals," Captain Doyen replied, his voice steady. "Yet you fear them enough to keep them isolated and value them enough to extract their genetic material for weapons." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many had not heard of the weapons program. "The security operations of the council are not the subject of this hearing," Yuna said coldly. "They become relevant when they involve the mistreatment of an intelligent species." Jiwoo stepped forward, holding her data tablet. "We have extensive evidence of Carrack's intelligence and communication ability." Over the next hour, the human team presented their case. Jiwoo demonstrated the communication system they had developed. Seok showed medical scans of Cal's brain structure, highlighting areas similar to those used for language and complex thought in other sentient species. Junho explained behavioral patterns that indicated self-awareness. Throughout the presentation, Cal remained calm, occasionally responding to simple questions from Jiwoo that she translated for the council. When the humans finished, Yuna took the floor again. "Impressive tricks, but meaningless. The creature has been trained to respond to commands, nothing more." "Then how do you explain this?" June asked. He turned to Cal and made a series of clicks and rumbles, sounds he had practiced for hours with Jiwoo. Cal's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. Then, to the amazement of the entire chamber, the massive creature began to draw on the floor with one clawed finger. The special surface of the council floor recorded the marks, projecting them onto large screens for all to see. It was a simple drawing, but unmistakable. A Carrack surrounded by smaller 2-legged figures, with lines connecting them in a circle. "A family." Shocked gasps echoed through the chamber. Even Yuna seemed momentarily speechless. "Cal has just drawn its understanding of family," June explained. "It sees us, humans and Carracks, as connected, as equals." An older council member leaned forward. "How do we know this isn't some human trick, some hidden technology?" "Scan us," Captain Doyen offered. "Scan Cal. You'll find no devices, no hidden technology, just understanding between species." Doyen rose from his seat. "I have witnessed their communication firsthand. It is genuine. The Carracks are indeed intelligent beings, and we have been blind to this fact for millennia." Taek joined him. "My people have feared the Carracks for generations. We never considered that they might be capable of thought, of feelings. We were wrong." Yuna's 6 eyes narrowed. "Even if, and I stress if, the Carracks possess rudimentary intelligence, they are still dangerous predators. They have killed many over the centuries. Any creature treated with cruelty will eventually strike back," June said. "On Earth, we learned long ago that even the fiercest predators respond to kindness with kindness." "A lovely sentiment," Yuna sneered. "But the Carracks are not Earth animals." "No," June agreed. "They're smarter than most Earth animals. Smart enough to understand when they're being used and mistreated." Suk spoke up from the leader's platform. "I have seen the evidence with my own eyes. I have witnessed communication between human and Carracks. If we deny their intelligence now, we deny the very principles of truth and justice upon which the council was founded." A tense silence fell over the chamber. The 7 council leaders conferred quietly among themselves. Finally, the one with flowing silver hair spoke again. "This is a matter of great importance that cannot be decided hastily. The council will need time to review all evidence and—" A loud sound interrupted him. Cal had struck the floor with one powerful limb, creating a booming echo. All eyes turned to the massive creature. Slowly, deliberately, Cal made a series of sounds that Jiwoo had taught them all to recognize. Speak now. Truth now. June stepped forward. Cal is right. This isn't about politics or tradition. It's about recognizing the truth that's right in front of you. The Carracks are intelligent. They understand, they feel. And they've been treated as tools for thousands of years. The chamber erupted in voices, some angry, some thoughtful. The council leaders struggled to restore order. In the midst of the chaos, Cal moved to the center of the floor and rose to its full impressive height. The chamber fell silent again as the massive creature began to make a complex series of sounds while drawing more symbols on the floor. Jiwoo translated, her voice filled with emotion. Cal says, "Long time alone. Long time afraid. Humans not afraid. Humans touch, talk, understand Carracks people, not things. Carracks want home." Even Yuna had no immediate response. The simple words, coming from a creature they had feared and used for millennia, seemed to touch something deep in the council members. Dohyun broke the silence. "The evidence is undeniable. I propose that the council immediately recognize the Carracks as a sentient species with all accompanying rights and protections." "I second this proposal," Suk said firmly. "This is absurd," Yuna protested. "One animal makes some sounds and drawings, and we're supposed to overturn 12,000 years of tradition?" "Sometimes," Captain Doyen said quietly. "It takes an outsider to help you see what has been in front of you all along." The council leaders conferred again, this time for longer. When they finished, the silver-haired leader spoke. "By majority vote, the council acknowledges the evidence presented by the human delegation. The Carracks are hereby recognized as a sentient species with full rights under council law." Cheers and protests filled the chamber in equal measure, but the decision was made. June looked at Cal, whose 4 eyes seemed brighter somehow. "What happens now?" one council member called out. "The Carracks have been bred in captivity for generations. They have no homeland to return to. Actually," Yeri stepped forward, "we found records indicating that the Carracks' homeworld Nocturne still exists. It's been classified as a restricted zone all these years." "Then that will be their sanctuary," Suk declared. "A place where the Carracks can live freely with council protection and human assistance," June added, looking at Cal. "If they want it." Cal made the sound for yes, followed by family. As the formal proceedings concluded, many council members approached the humans cautiously, some even daring to stand near Cal. The fear was still there, but curiosity was beginning to replace it. Later, as the human team celebrated in their quarters, Captain Doyen raised a glass. To understanding across species, and to June, whose decision to pet an apex predator changed galactic history. June smiled, watching Cal interact with the team. "I just did what felt right. Sometimes the scariest things are just waiting for someone to show them kindness." Tyke, who had joined their celebration, shook his head in wonder. "In all my years, I never imagined I would sit comfortably in the same room as a Carracks. Humans have changed everything." "That's what we do," June said simply, as Cal rested its massive head on his shoulder. "We adapt, we connect, we understand. And sometimes we pet the things everyone else is afraid of." Outside the viewport, the stars of the galaxy shone brightly, a galaxy that would never be quite the same again after humanity's arrival.